Pakistan's Field Marshal has been selling the world one story, that he single-handedly talked Iran and America off a cliff. But according to reports, there's a second story running underneath that one. Asim Munir reportedly runs a private oil transport company. With who? With the IRGC chief Ahmad Vahidi. And it is this oil transport joint venture that he leveraged to get Iran to back off from striking Saudi. If those claims are accurate, they fundamentally change how we view Pakistan's much publicized diplomacy. Was Saudi Arabia protected by careful statecraft or by a general's private business interests? Was Pakistan's peace initiative really about regional stability or about preserving a commercial arrangement that benefited powerful individuals on both sides? Let's break down what these allegations actually claim and why they matter, and why they could reshape perceptions of Pakistan's role in West Asia. The allegations come from a report published by the Times of Israel, and it clearly says that it spoke to 3 officials with direct knowledge of the negotiations between Iran and Pakistan. These 3 officials include a Middle Eastern diplomat and an intelligence official. According to these sources, Asim Munir used his personal relationship with the IRGC commander Ahmad Vahidi to broker an understanding between Iran and Saudi Arabia during the early phase of the conflict. The report goes even further. It alleges that Munir and Vahidi jointly operate an oil transport business, and that Munir used the future of this venture as leverage during discussions with Tehran. The alleged understanding was reportedly reached in late March, when regional tensions were at their highest. At that time, Saudi Arabia, remember, faced the possibility of becoming a much larger target as the Iran conflict expanded. According to this report, Munir conveyed a very simple message to Tehran, to Vahidi, that continued attacks on Saudi Arabia could jeopardize the joint commercial arrangement. Soon after, Iranian attacks against Saudi Arabia subsided. Now, it's important to underline something. These are allegations contained in one media report. Pakistan has not publicly acknowledged any such business arrangement. Iran has not confirmed it either. Neither side has officially commented on these specific claims. But if true, they could reveal an extraordinary overlap between personal business interests and high-stakes regional diplomacy. Perhaps the most remarkable allegation concerns what happened after Iran reportedly struck Saudi Arabia again in recent days. According to the report, Munir did not respond first through Pakistan's Foreign Office. He allegedly contacted Ahmad Vahidi directly. And the warning, according to the officials quoted, was not centered on Pakistan's strategic interests. It was about protecting their reported joint oil transportation venture once again. Think about that for a moment. Instead of traditional diplomatic pressure, instead of military deterrence, instead of formal state-to-state communication, the leverage came through a private commercial relationship. In other words, Iran's calculations may not simply have involved geopolitics. They may also have involved financial interests shared by influential figures on both sides. If that interpretation is correct, it paints a very different picture of how de-escalation actually happened. The peace was not necessarily enforced by governments alone. It may have been reinforced by money instead. If these allegations withstand scrutiny, they raise several uncomfortable questions. First, for Saudi Arabia. For months, Pakistan has portrayed itself as Riyadh's trusted security partner. But if Saudi Arabia's protection depended partly on a private commercial understanding between Pakistan Army chief and an Iranian commander, what does that really say about the reliability of these security guarantees? A lasting peace is usually built on strategic deterrence, diplomatic agreements, or military balance, not on whether influential individuals continue to profit from a business arrangement. Second, for Pakistan itself, civilian governments normally conduct foreign policy. military leaders execute national security policy, but these allegations blur those lines dramatically. If Pakistan's most powerful military officer was simultaneously exercising diplomatic influence while allegedly maintaining private commercial interests connected to one side of the conflict, critics are going to inevitably ask whether institutional and personal interests had become intertwined. That question perhaps becomes even bigger for Pakistan, where the military has historically exercised enormous influence over foreign and security policy. The report also raises another concern. How durable is a peace built on personal leverage? If de-escalation depends on institutional agreements, treaties, and strategic calculations, it can survive changes in leadership. But if it depends on relationships between individuals, or even worse, on commercial incentives, its future becomes that much less predictable. What happens if that business arrangement ends? What happens if political interests diverge? Or if one side concludes that the commercial costing is all wrong and is not worth paying? One of the diplomats quoted in the report argues that such an arrangement effectively legitimizes what amounts to protection payments or ransom payments to Iran. In this interpretation, countries avoid becoming targets not because regional tensions have eased, but because maintaining those financial relationships become more valuable than continuing military escalation. Similar allegations have surfaced in recent months regarding other Gulf countries too. The UAE has strongly denied reports suggesting it released frozen Iranian funds in exchange for avoiding attacks. Qatar has also rejected comparable allegations. No conclusive evidence has publicly established these claims, but together they reflect a broader concern whether economic arrangements are quietly becoming an unofficial tool of wartime deterrence. Pakistan's foreign ministry and the Saudi embassy in Washington did not respond to requests for comments according to the report, and until more evidence emerges, many of these claims remain allegations rather than established facts. But they raise uncomfortable questions. If the same individual is simultaneously acting as military commander, regional mediator, and according to these reports, a private business partner for the Iranian security chief, where exactly do national interests and personal interests begin? This is Times Access, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe, because the next big global shift will have India at its center.